Happy Friday Eve, everybody. Who's ready to make some headbands, ear warmers, whatever you want to call them? I'm ready. I'm ready. So, good morning, all. Today, as you can see here, I'm making these little ear warmers. I sent some of these off for the holidays, and I made this one for myself, and I want to make another one in a different color. And I want to make a couple for my niece who's here in town. It's supposed to be down in the 20s here over the weekend. So it's definitely the right time of year for these. So, anyhow, I hope everybody's having a great week this week. And I'll get started on these ear warmers. They're very, very easy. They look fancy because they've got these little lines of texture. But all I did was half double crochets. And I'll show you how I did it. The yarn that I'm using today, this is called Bernat Symphony, and I put links for this over on the link tree. This is the Colorway Sea Spray. It's a 5 bulky, and it calls for a size K, 10 and a half, 6.5 millimeter hook. So this is Sea Spray. Now the other color I'm going to be using today is also the Bernat Symphony. And this color is called Seashell. I really like this pink and green. It is so, so pretty. So anyhow, I'm going to start with the pink and green this morning, just because I really like it. So the first thing that you need to do when you're making one of these ear warmers is you've got to measure your head. So what I like to do, yes, they are acrylic. Sound is crackling for me now. Let me restart the mic over here on TikTok, guys. It's been doing this. I'm not sure why. Okay, let me know if that sounds any better over on TikTok, guys. Is it good over on YouTube? Is it crackling over there? Sorry, it's probably gonna have some crackles because I dropped it. Um, so the first thing that we need to do is get your tape measure out, and you measure around your head. Okay, so you put it basically where your ear warmer is going to sit. And then you'll have kind of your idea of how big you need to make your piece. So when I measured my head, it was about 22 inches. So I think I have kind of a larger head. Um, when I measured my sister-in-law when she was here, she had about a 21 inch. So anyhow, if you want it to fit for you, you definitely have to kind of get your measurements down. Now for my niece, I have no idea how big her head is. So I'm going to go kind of in between the two and just see what happens. So anyhow, as I mentioned, you're using a pretty large hook. This is a bulky yarn, but that's okay. It makes it work up really fast. So this morning I have a size K, and I think I said that was a 6.5 millimeter, but this is acrylic yarn. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a slip knot on my hook here. And then I am going to, sorry, my hook is a little grungy. You can see I've been working on these. I'm just going to start chaining, okay? And I'm going to chain along until I think I've got about 20-ish inches, and then we're going to measure it, okay? So when I did my sister-in-law's, that was a starting chain of 48 is what hers ended up being. Mine was more like 51 chains, just to kind of give you a ballpark, if you will. Everybody crochets a little tighter or looser, so that's why it is important if you measure. But like I said, it's kind of a in the vicinity kind of thing. And I should be counting these as I'm going rather than talking, but I'm not. So now I'm going to have to go back and count. But we'll just measure this. It'll be easier. So anyhow, has everybody got big plans for the weekend? Getting prepped for the holidays. While I'm doing these chains, guys, let me mention about the December subscriber giveaway. The December subscriber giveaway. I didn't bring the book with me, but it's going to be the crochet square book that I have on my link tree. It is. It's one of my favorite books, and like I mentioned before, if you're a subscriber and you happen to be the winner, If you already have that book, you can pick a different one of equal value or whatever you want for equal value, as long as it's on Amazon. I'm just going to use Amazon and I'm going to send it direct to whoever the winner is. That way it'll kind of take me less time to do all the shipping and stuff. Okay, so you can see I kind of have a little too many here. I'm going to pull this back a little bit. One of the things I like to do with my ear warmers, and everybody might do this a little bit different, I like to measure it kind of stretched out a little bit because I want it snug around my ears, around my ears. So if I pull this kind of stretched, um, you can see it's like 21, but it's going to kind of suck back in. So that's the way that I like to measure mine. But like I said, everybody has a little different. Crochet by Rose, someone woke up and accidentally went live and said impromptu stream. Oh, uh, yeah, I go live. Hey, Queen, 5:30. Good morning. Somebody said their kid is off of school for the next 2 weeks. That is awesome. Pepper Me Timber said, I'm doing gingerbread houses this week. How fun! Tanya said, I got the kids off to school to time to tackle million loads of laundry. Well, at least if you get it done now, you'll have it all out of the way for the holiday. You won't have to be worrying about it. Frostbit said, I immediately bought the crochet dictionary after you showed us. Yeah, so the crochet dictionary I just got, I can't remember who mentioned it. Was it Lefty that mentioned it? I just got this one a while ago. I was showing you guys, but it's really cool because it has like all the stitches and it has the diagrams, which I really like. So this is a pretty cool book too. But the one for the giveaway, sorry, I got sidetracked. That one is going to be the Granny Square one, and I'm sorry, I can't remember what it's called exactly. Mike is crackling bad. What is going on with this thing? I hope it doesn't keep doing this. I wonder if the light is interfering with it. Let me try to put it in a different spot. I don't have a lot of spots here. I'm like a full house. Okay, let me know. Anvil, let me know if that gets bad again, okay? I don't want you guys to have to sit there and listen to a crackling mic. I'm gonna bust out my other one for next week because I'm tired of this one. Hey Caroline, good morning. Macy found the little snowman. Very, very cute. Let's see. So anyhow, back to the book. Sorry, lots of squirrels running by this morning. Um, we're going to do the subscriber giveaway on Tuesday, which is Christmas Eve. It's also, I believe, the first day of Hanukkah. And we'll give away that book at 8 a.m. Okay, so that's my plan for the book. Okay, so I did my starting chain and I measured out to the size of my head. The other thing you can guys can do is after you get this chain, put this around your head and make sure it feels good. Make sure it sounds or it feels proper around your ears and stuff. Okay, so once we do this, this is a size K hook. And what we're going to do is I'm going to start with a half double crochet. This is all half doubles. I'm going to skip the first one and into the back bump, I'm going to make a half double crochet. And I'm going to do a row of half double crochets the entire length here. So I'm working in the back bump. Now, if you are new to crochet and you're like, what the heck is a back bump? When you look at your chain, this is the top of your stitch. See how it looks like a little sideways V? If you turn it to the back, you can see this little hump here. That is what is called the back bump or the back loop, whatever you want to call it. Most people I think call it the back bump. I like to use that particular thread coming up there. And the reason why is after you put in your stitches, it leaves the other two as a very beautiful finished edge. So if you're not putting any edging or border or anything, if you work in this back bump, it will always give you that nice finished edge. And that's why I like doing it. It is a little more time consuming to work in that stitch. It just kind of takes a little longer sometimes to get your hook under there. But the result is worth the added effort, in my opinion. And again, if you don't want to do that, you can go just under this bar here if you wanted. Either way, but like I said, I like to do the back bump. You can see the little edge of my headband showing up there, ear warmer, and it looks really a nice finished edge. Hang on one second over here on YouTube. Let me zoom this in a little more. I'm getting to some of the side stuff. Okay. So anyhow, I'm doing a half double the whole way down for this headband. And if you're just hopping on, this yarn that I'm using today it's called Bernat Symphony. I think I got mine at Mary Maxim. However, I know Hirschner's has it. Joanne has some, but when I looked at theirs, it was pretty cleared out. But I did put the link on the link tree for Hirschner's. And they do still have this colorway that I'm doing this morning. So the blue that I'm doing is Sea Spray, and the pink and green. The pink and green is what I'm doing right now. This is called Seashell. I really like it with the pink and green. I think it looks really pretty. So anyhow, just working in the back bump all the way down, half double crochet. And does anybody not know how to make a half double crochet? Does anybody need help with that stitch? I know we've got a lot of experienced people on the live, but we do have some new people that hop on as well. Thank you for the follow. Good morning. My name is April, for those that do not know, and I come on live every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday mornings from 7 a.m. Central Time till about 8:30. I'm not a professional crocheter. I'm just a hobby crocheter. But I come on here and make some patterns with my friends and chat it up and whatnot. We have a marvelous group here. And everything I'm working on today is over on the link tree. Now, I am live this morning both on TikTok and on YT. So once I am done with the live, I will. The video will process on YT, and then you'll be able to go back and watch it. It usually takes about 24 hours for it to process, and then I have to work on it a little bit, and then it'll be published after that. So yesterday's video I will be working on today to get it published out there on YT. And my handle is the same on both, Wheeler 8 Acres. But like I said, my name is April, and I see you crocheting on the floor. I love it. Yeah. So what is happening, what she's referring to, Macy has good observation skills. I have the YT stream on my TV. I have the TikTok stream on my tablet, and I am working with two phones in my face. One is streaming each one. And what is happening, what you guys are seeing there is we have wood floors. It's the reflection from the TV onto the floor. Is it annoying? Do I need to try to change the angle, or is it just one of those things? I can try to shift it down a little bit if it's annoying. Uh, Anyhow, Georgina, good morning. Macy said it's fine, just funny. Yeah, it's the little things, right? So here's how these half double crochets are shaping up. I love, love, love the half double crochet. And it's so funny. I was watching, I told some of you guys this yesterday on the live. I was watching Crystal. She published a video this week, which was her Royal Ridge stitch, which also utilizes the half double crochet. And she mentioned on her live, Crystal is over on YT, um, um, Bag a Day Crochet. We all love Crystal. Anyhow, she's very knowledgeable and makes a ton of tutorials. Sorry, one second here. I got to turn off my electric blanket. It's too hot. Okay. So anyhow, she was saying I hate half double crochets. And I was like, wait, what? Really? I love half doubles. I was so kind of surprised when she mentioned that, because I really enjoy making half double crochets. I like the shape of them. I like that it's just the one, stitch, and I feel like I can kind of fly through them. I love the fact that it has the third loop, which we're going to talk about this third loop very soon here. But I absolutely love the half double. So I was, like I said, I was really shocked when she said that she doesn't like it. It was a big surprise to me. And I know we kind of talked about it yesterday. A lot of people were like, I like the half double. I enjoy making that stitch. So I don't know. I guess everybody has their own opinion about everything. But it kind of made me chuckle. Okay, so this was my last stitch of the chain here. And I just put a half double in that stitch. So you can see here, because I went in the back loop again, this is a really pretty finished edge. So I don't have to worry about making the edges of this, nice. You can kind of see it here on the ear warmer. And then when I finish the top side, it'll look like this. So the two kind of match. So that's one of the reasons why I like to work in the back loop of that starting chain. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to chain one, and I'm going to turn my work. So now we're looking at the back side of these half double crochets. If I put it forward, these two loops are the top of the stitch. And what the half double has that a lot of stitches do not have is what is called the third loop. So again, here's the top. If you turn it to the side, this little loop right here, if you can see this, is called the third loop. And a lot of when you're working with this half double, a lot of patterns you'll work into this third loop. And what we're going to do today is we're going to add, see these lines of texture that are on this ear warmer? We're not going to do anything really super fancy with this to get these lines of texture. And so that's why I really like this. Guys, I don't know if there's a pattern for this. I started watching Crystal's ear warmer tutorial and I was like, meh, I'm going to go do my own thing. So here's what I did. Normally when you do a half double, you would yarn over and I would go under these two bars here and complete my half double like this. And we're going to do that on some of these. But what we're going to do on this first turn, get off there. Instead of going in these top two stitches, I'm going to go under the third loop. And you can work solely under this third loop and put your stitch there. But what I like to do is I like to put it under the front loop that is facing me as well. So if I move over here to the side, I'm going to not go in this one right here, but I'm going to put my hook under the front, the third loop and the front loop. So I end up getting two stitches here and leave that one behind. And then all I'm going to do is yarn over and then yarn over and pull through all three. So it's still a half double, but instead of going in these top two loops, I'm going to go in the third loop. And then I kind of put my hook straight up and slide it under the front loop that's facing me, and then yarn over and pull through all three. So still a half double. Yarn over, go under the third loop, then under the front loop, grab that loop, pull it up, yarn over, pull through all three. Let's do this a few more times, then we're going to turn and look at it, okay? Because you guys are going to be wondering, like, why go to all that effort? So again, under the third loop, under the loop that faces me. Oh, wow. Thank you so much for the paper crane this morning, Deb. That was beautiful. Thank you so much. Appreciate the gifts this morning, and I see lots of hearts flying up the screen. Thank you all so much. Glad you're here with me. Looks like we have about 100 people over on TikTok and a few people over on YT as well. So good morning, everybody. So let's turn our work now, because I know you all are dying to see what we're doing. So by leaving the back loop that was away from us, it has left behind this row of texture. I didn't have to do any post work like a front loop or front post or a back post. And you can see it's leaving behind that line of texture. How cool is that? So by working in the third loop and the loop that faces me, going underneath both of those, with my half doubles. It is creating this marvelous texture, and I'm really not having to do any other hard work. So again, I just half doubles, yarn over, go under the third loop, go over the loop that faces you. Again, I'm leaving this loop behind, the back loop, and draw up a loop, yarn over, and pull through all three. So still just half double. It's just going into different loops. And I'm just going to continue doing that the entire way down. I think this yarn is starting to change to the pink, guys. I love this yarn. It's so pretty. So anyhow, there are lots of different patterns for headbands or ear warmers. I think, for me, this one was very simple. It was a way that I could basically like crank out some stocking stuffers, if you will, and get them sent off as gifts. And I wanted them for myself too. I had never made an ear warmer before. So I was just kind of experimenting around. But it is kind of a nice, quick workup project if you're looking for something in between. If you've got a blanket or other larger projects, if you just kind of need to take a break, sometimes we lose our crojo, right? And we just need kind of something to like break things up and uh, kind of make us get back into it, right? Maybe you just have kind of lost your way or your enthusiasm. This is a nice easy project to kind of ease your way back in, or like I said, if you just need a break. I did that big fall blanket that I did, the mosaic granny. After I finished that blanket, I was just like, meh, I am not interested in doing much of anything. And so a project like this can really help kind of, get you back excited about it. See that line of texture coming through? Super, super cool. Mama Wheeler is here this morning. April goes out early every morning to fill her bird feeders. Yeah, it's going to be cold. I think Saturday it said it was supposed to be 20 overnight. And I know a lot of people have it a lot colder than we do. I'm kind of in I guess, kind of the middle of the U.S. We're about 50 minutes south of Chattanooga, so we don't get super, super cold like everybody does in the Northeast or like Colorado or Montana or some of those south. The Dakotas are so cold. We're not like that. But it is nice because hey, Deborah, good morning. We have a lot of seasons. We get all the seasons. And Arizona, I didn't feel like we got the seasons. Queen says, like me in Michigan. Yeah, brr. That's too cold for me. When we were looking to relocate, it was like those states up north where you all are at, Pennsylvania and stuff. Oh, no, 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 no. I'm sorry. Those were not even in the what do you call it, like the running. Way too cold for me, especially with my RA. That cold really can flare me up. And so yeah, no. But I know we have a lot of people that live in the really cold weather. Macy says, I see how it is. Macy lives in the cold too. Anvil does. Anvil messaged me yesterday. She went outside and it was just absolutely icicles kind of weather out. She went back inside. It was like way, way too cold. I said, "Girl, don't go out there." So anyhow, yeah, I don't do well with the cold. Anvil says I hate it. Yeah, so that's why I like where we're at. I love having the season change. I love having the leaves fall and change colors. Um, uh Queen says that's okay, we don't fry in the summer. Yeah, so I in the summer here it's kind of humid. I just stay inside. It's not that bad. It's not like deep south. It's not like Florida. It's definitely not as bad. We're far enough north that it's really let me move this. Our YouTube is like not focusing very well. Okay, so let me I just did my very last stitch here. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to chain one and turn my work. So you can see there's our row of texture again by working in the back bump. Now, these half doubles, you can see, were on the back side of them because we just turned. So again, here's the cool thing about these half double crochets. This is what is considered the third loop here. So as I'm working on this next row, I'm not going to work in this third loop. I'm going to turn my work and go back to working in the top stitches. When I work in the top stitches, you guessed it, this line of texture is going to be left behind. So again, all I'm doing is half doubles into the first stitch here, half double. I'm going to go under both loops. So again, not on the side here, back up on top, just working a half double the entire way down. But you'll see here when I get my hands out of the way, that line of texture again is automatically being created, and I'm not having to do anything. I'm not having to struggle with back post. I'm not having to struggle with front post. All I'm doing is crocheting half doubles. And look, can you see that line of texture that's right there? Very, very cool. So as we were working on this, once I get to the next, I turn my work, we're going to go back and do it like this one again. And that's all I'm doing for this ear warmer, is alternating between the two. And it is putting these lines of texture for me. And I don't have to think a whole lot. I'm not really having to count. It's very relaxing. If you can do a half double, you can do this project. Very, very fun, easy going project. What is the name of the yarn and the function of the chains? So the colorway that I'm using today is called Seashell, and it is Bernat Symphony. It is 80% acrylic and 20% wool. So it is a little warmer for, winter, which I don't mind that. Some people don't like wool though. So, you could pick whatever yarn you want, but this is considered a 5 bulky, and I am using a size K hook, which is a 6.5 millimeter. Guys, I think you could use any yarn for this. If you wanted to use a 4-weight yarn, just adjust your hook, and you might have to make it a little taller. And again, I measured my head, so I know it's going to fit around me. Now I'm going to try to make this about 4 inches wide. So if we look at this one, that's kind of the target. How you get this twist is how we're going to sew this together. So it's very, very easy. It is very soft. And if we measure this, so I'm a little shy of 4 inches. I probably could have done another one, but I was good with this size. I think it's, here's my hand. I have pretty big hands, but kind of give you guys an idea. Let's see. I meant the foundation chains. The foundation chains, for my size, I started out with 50 foundation chains. I don't remember how many I did on this one. Honestly, we started on the live and I didn't count it. But what I did is I measured. So if you're just hopping on, how I started this is I took my tape measure. This is a flexible tape measure, and I put it around my head, around my ears, where it goes in the front of my head, and I measured it, and my head was about 22 inches. Okay, so then what I did is I made my starting chain. I chain. It doesn't matter how many you do. And if it's not stretched out, it's about 19. But what I like to do with mine, and again, you don't have to do this, it depends on how tight you want it. I want mine a little snug around my ears. And this one's going to be for my niece. She has a little smaller head than I do. But what I do is I stretch this out. So I think about, if this is wrapped around my head, how far would this stretch? It will stretch to 22, but relaxed, it's about a 19. My niece's head, I'm guessing, is about a 21, kind of the same size as her mom's. So, again, if you're making these as gifts, you kind of have to guesstimate and hope that it's not too tight. It might be too tight. They might have to regift it. But if you don't have access to measure their head, there's not a whole lot you could do. You could do the same exact thing for a kid. If you have, a daughter that you want to make an ear warmer for, just measure, and you can figure out how long you need to make your starting chain. So does that help? Does that help, Queen 530? Let's see. Aniki said I started making them bigger just because I like the fit. Yeah, you're gonna have to play around with it and see what I like might not be what you like. And mine, I have long hair, and so I don't have a lot of hair like under this because I always have it up in a scrunchie. And so all those things make a difference. If you have thicker hair, it's gonna be fit differently. Somebody asked me how they could find me over on YT. Um, it's the same handle. It's Wheeler 8 Acres. Where did my headband go? So we're making today. This is a ear warmer. It's called a twist ear warmer, and it's all half double crochets. It's very easy to do. Now, guys, I just started crocheting half doubles. That's kind of what we're going over today. This color is called Sea Spray. It's also the Bernat Symphony. The color that I'm using right now is the Seashell, and it's pink and green. So all I'm doing is half double crochets. Now, if you're new to my channel, I am streaming live both this morning on TikTok and over on YT. After I am done with the live, I will publish what we're doing today. It usually takes a little over 24 hours. It takes 24 hours for it to process. And then you'll be able to go back on YT and reference what I'm doing today if you want to make this and you need a little extra direction. Okay. So everything that I'm doing, of course, you're going to hear all my commentary and stories and all that. I just like doing it better on the live. If I do a tutorial, it's very clinical, and crochet is my hobby right now. I'm busy with work, my real job, and I don't have a lot of time to sit down and make tutorials. If crochet was my real job, I would kind of have more time for that, but I just don't. I do the very, very best that I can, but I really enjoy coming live and chatting with all my friends and stuff. So I come live every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday mornings at 7 a.m. And I usually go till about 8:30. I have to be at work at 9, and I'm 7:30 Central Time. I'm in let's see. Sorry, Cinderella said 80% acrylic. Isn't that a little itchy? I was concerned about that. My sister-in-law, who's been here, she's gone now, but she was here for the weekend. She's hypersensitive to that kind of stuff. And I said, well, this yarn is 80% acrylic and 20% wool, but it's actually really soft. And I made two for her. I made her both the sea spray and also the seashell. And she was so excited about it. She wore it around town. She went to see my niece. She was wearing it. She said it's not scratchy. But everybody has a preference. You can make this with any yarn. If you have a different yarn that you prefer, you could make it exactly the same way. All you have to do is measure ahead so you know how long to make your starting chain. And I'm going to stack it up about 4 inches. Okay. If I was using a thinner weight yarn, I might have to do more back and forth rows. But with this, it works up pretty fast. So really, you don't have to use this yarn. You could use whatever you like. Okay, so this is all half double crochet. So I just put in my last stitch here, and now I'm going to turn my work. And now what we're going to do is, you can see here, this is the top 2 loops of the stitch again. Here is that third loop, and we're on the back side of the ear warmer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a half double crochet into this very first stitch. Now, normally when you do a half double crochet, you yarn over and you work under those top 2 stitches that looks like a V. I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to work this stitch under what is called the third loop, which is this little loop right here. You can kind of see it. There's kind of a long one and a shorter one, and you're going to work under this long one. If you kind of spread it out, you can see this little stitch right here. That is your third loop. Here are your loops up on top. So I yarn over, I put my hook under the third loop, and then I put it straight up, and I go under the front loop that is facing me. I leave the back loop behind. I don't go under that loop. Okay. Then I yarn over and pull up a loop, and I yarn over and pull through all 3. So again, it's just a half double, nothing fancy. Instead of going under these 2 bars, we're going to go under the 3rd loop and the one that faces me. So I yarn over, go under that 3rd loop, put my hook straight up, grab a loop, pull it up, yarn over, pull through all 3. Again, yarn over, here's the 3rd loop, go straight up, get the loop that's facing you, yarn over, pull through all 3. Now, as I'm doing this, what is happening on the other side is it's leaving behind a row of texture on our project. Normally, in order to get texture rows, you kind of have to do some fancier stitches, right? You guys see me do back post stitches, front post stitches, and whatnot. Those leave behind fabulous lines of texture. But you can basically, what I consider, do a cheat, and you get a line of texture without a lot of effort. So you can see here, this is what was the back loop, the loop facing away from me that we did not work ourselves into, and it left behind that line of texture for us. You can see I'm here on this project as well. So this is what is that back loop as we're working this. So again, just half doubles the whole way down, work under the 3rd loop, work under the front loop. So guys, if you're brand new to crochet, as you look at stitches, this is the top of your stitch. It kind of looks like a sideways V. It has 2 what are called bars, okay? This bar that faces me is called the front loop. The one that is away from you is the back loop, okay? So you will see this written in patterns as FLO, front loop only, or BLO, back loop only. And when you're doing a half double crochet, you have what is referred to as the 3rd loop, and that's the one here on the side. So again, under the 3rd loop, under the front loop, leave the back loop alone, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3. So again, just a half double. Yeah, thank you guys, everybody who's watching over on YT. I appreciate that. I'm trying to grow over there now. I did make a Lemon 8 account as well. Lemon 8. It's really horrible for tutorials. You can only do 1-minute videos, and you can't go live. Oh, thank you so much, Gen X girl, for the red hot chili peppers. I appreciate that. And good morning, by the way. So Lemon 8, I know they're supposed to work on it if things happen, but right now it's not really a great solution because you can't go live, and that's what I enjoy doing. But I do have a Lemon 8 account if you guys want to follow me there. It's Wheeler 8 Acres. Over on YT, it's Wheeler 8 Acres, and I am live on both TikTok and YT this morning. So, we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen. I don't want to get sucked into all that drama this morning, but, there are other places that you can watch me do my magic in the mornings, if you will. And I appreciate everybody who's been looking for me and giving me a follow. I really appreciate that. My YT is growing, but I still have less than 1,000, so it's definitely a slower growth over there. And I like the fact that you can do the replays. And for those that don't know me, I do live kind of in the country, and I live stream my bird feeders, and also I set up a deer camera last weekend. And I'm really enjoying the deer camera. We had a 3x3 buck come in last night. I guess technically he's like a 4x4 because he's got the little baby spikes on the bottom of his antlers. And so get the app favorited. It's only for lives. Oh, okay, wheelchair girl. I'll have to check that out. Uh, uh, yeah, favorited. I'll have to remember that. I won't remember that. I'll have to go back and read the comments on the live. I'll tell you guys, I have so much going on the live. Sometimes I get off the live and then I'm like, what was that app they said? Let's see. Mama C said, I signed up with you on Lemon 8 and deleted it due to the many random posts I kept getting. Oh, yeah. I don't know. The jury's kind of out for me on that one. And Facebook, that's definitely out for me. I'm You guys have heard my rant about Facebook. I will not go there for my lives. I don't like it. So too many ads and spammy I don't just too many ads and marketing crap on Facebook, in my opinion. I really like TikTok and I really like YT. So yeah, and I pay the money per month for my YT, so I don't get all the little advertisements and stuff. But you know, I for me it's worth it. I sit there at my desk and I always have something randomly playing in the background, whether it's my bird feeders or if it's, you know, the deer cam, or sometimes I'll just queue up Mikey and have Mikey kind of going in the background. And why is this not working? Okay, it doesn't like that. I might not be able to do that. Let's try Heart Puff. Nothing can work. Nothing's working. Oh, goodness. I can't change the live goal. I'll tell you, sometimes this thing is pretty frustrating. Let me try this again. Set up a new goal. Let's see if this works better. Edit. Sorry, guys. Slight intervention. Yeah, it won't work. Okay, well, I can't do a live goal. Anvil likes me to do a new live goal, but it will not work at all. So annoying. Oh, there we go. I got it. Okay, we're getting roses because that's all that would work. Hey, Shauna. Good morning. So, for those that are just joining on, we are making uh, headbands, ear warmers. Okay, and this is what they look like. It's a little twist ear warmer, and I did a starting chain, but what I did is I measured my head. And I figured out, I used a flexible tape measure like this, and I figured out that my head is about 22 inches where it would sit. Okay. So then I did a starting chain that was about that many. And then what I did is I worked into the back loop of that starting chain and I did a half double crochet. This entire headband, ear warmer, is all half double crochets. So what I'm doing right now, I have to move this. It keeps throwing off the focus. I'm just working a half double crochet, but now as I'm working this stitch, normally as you do a half double, you would work under the front and back loop of your row below. So I would normally go like this and do a half double. So again, under these two bars, and do your half double crochet. I am doing it different when I'm on the back here. And what is unique about the half double crochet, and one of the reasons why I love it so much, you have the back loop, the front loop, and you have on the side here what is called the third loop when you look at it from the back. And what I am doing this morning is I am, instead of going under the top two bars, I am going under the third loop and under the front loop, the one that faces me, and I'm leaving the back loop behind. When I leave the back loop behind, it is for what is forming this really cool line of texture on this ear warmer. So I'm not having to do any front post, double crochet, half double, not any back post. All I'm doing is just a half double crochet. But because of how I'm placing this stitch, it is automatically leaving behind a row of texture. So under, you kind of put it on the side here, under what is called the third loop. I put my hook straight up and I go under the front loop. And again, I'm not going under the back loop. See how my hook is in between there? Then what I do is I draw up a loop and then I yarn over and pull through all three. So all it is a half double crochet, but the difference is where we're placing it. So again, yarn over, go under the third loop, go under the front loop, the one is facing me, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all three. Again, yarn over, go under the third loop, then the front loop, grab that loop up, yarn over, pull through all three. Would that be considered a front loop only half double? It would not. in my opinion, correct me if I'm wrong here, guys, if we were doing the front loop only, we would ignore the third stitch and only go in this one that faces me. So it would be under this loop only would be the front loop. I do not like to do under the front loop only. And the reason why is because I feel like it stretches out like this. Do you see how that loop has stretched out? Now it will go kind of back as I pull it out, but I don't feel like it's a sturdy enough stitch. Now, with that being said, if you're doing things like, sleeves and you need something that's super stretchy, yeah, that will work for you. Again, you're going to have that same line of texture. But what I'm doing is I'm incorporating in this third loop so that way it's more sturdy. Now, the pattern that I was watching Crystal do yesterday, she was working in the third loop only. So she was not going in the front or the back loop. She was just yarning over, going under what is called the third loop and doing her stitches this way. And the pattern she put out this week is called the Royal Ripple, I believe is what she called it. But again, she was working under the third loop only, and I'm going to show you guys what that looks like, just so you could kind of see all of the different things you can do with a half double. The half double is such a cool stitch. I really dig it. Okay, so you can see right here, this is where I was doing the third and the front loop. This is what Crystal was doing on her pattern. See how now you have both bars facing forward. So that would be really cool for this pattern also. Lots of different possibilities. You could mix it up. You might want to, do something like that and then something like this. There's a lot of options. So it's just such a versatile stitch. I think it's really cool. So let me pull it back out. I'm going to stay consistent with what we're doing here. But basically, instead of going under the back loop, which is the one away from me, the front loop is the one that's facing me. This is the third loop. I'm going to go under the third loop and put my hook straight up, and I'm going to go under the front loop, which is the one that's facing me. And then I yarn over and pull up a loop. Yarn over, pull through all three. Maybe you're thinking of front post. Did that make sense? The person who asked about the front loop only. So the back of what you're doing is going to be the front. So this is the back right here, and this is the front. So I want the one with the texture to have all the be on the front, but you don't have to. I mean, you could sew it different, and you could have this way as well. I just think it's prettier with all the texture. I wanted these lines of, you can kind of see them here. This color is Sea Spray, and this one is Seashell. I caught these on sale. These yarns. I probably still will make a beanie. I haven't got around to that yet, but I'm making this for my niece that can go in her package for Christmas. And so I made her the blue one, and then I'm going to go ahead and give her this one as well. And then I'm going to make a couple for myself, or at least one for myself. That way, when it's cold and I go outside to fill the bird feeders and stuff, I can pop it on. That makes sense. Is there a name for the way that you are doing it? Honestly, there probably is a name, but I really don't know. If anybody else knows, we have a lot of people that are very knowledgeable about crochet here. I Feel free to chime in, guys. How long does it take you to make one or a beanie? So one of these head warmers, it didn't take me very long. Obviously, I'm going a lot slower this morning on the live as I'm trying to explain this. But I think I made like 6 of them this weekend or something in a couple hours. They work up very quick for me. But again, I crochet a little faster. I've been crocheting for 40 years, so obviously on the live I slow down and try to explain stuff, but and I pause and talk when I'm by myself. I'm not yapping away like this, so it definitely it changes the whole dynamic of everything, right? Okay, so this is the last stitch here. When you get your last stitch in, what you're going to do is you're going to chain one, and now I'm going to turn my work. So again, now we're back to the front of the ear warmer. And this last stitch we did, this is the back. So what I want to do on this one is, instead of, I'm not going to try to work in the third loop and the top loop. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to working in the top 2 stitches, because what I want to accomplish is I want to leave this line of texture behind. So you can see right here, this line, that was left behind when we worked this stitch. So same thing here. I'm going to yarn over, and now I'm going to go under the front loop and the back loop, and I'm going to do a half double. And I'm just going to, again, work a half double crochet the entire way down. And you'll see here in a minute, when I get my hand out of the way, um, it is leaving behind, again, an added line of texture, and I'm not having to do any work to get it. So it's really, really fun to do. So there's our line of texture. You can see it here. Again, it's not really obvious. It's kind of subtle. It's very easy to do, and you could do more dramatic, kind of textures and stuff, but I think it's nice being kind of subtle. It's there, but it's very easy to do, and it just is kind of a nice, relaxing, fun project, which we all need those. And does it matter what way you turn your work, meaning left to right or right to left? um as long as you have your stitch on the left when you're starting out. But now we have a lot of left-handers here, that follow me as well, and theirs would work up differently than mine. So when I get over here to the edge, you can either turn like this or you can turn like this. It doesn't matter. I just don't want this yarn to twist up. So I always do my chain first. So what we're saying, guys, here, let me rewind this. Let me frog this out. Ribbit, ribbit, ribbit. Okay, so here's the last stitch that I just did. Okay, a lot of people will turn their work and then they do their chain. I don't do that. From the time that I learned, I make my chain and then I turn my work from the left to the right. And then I start my half double here. Now, the question that is being asked is, can you turn it this way? It puts a little twist in it, but it doesn't matter because that stitch is really being kind of ignored. So as long as you do it the exact same way all the time, it really makes no difference if you turn it one direction or the other. But I think that has to do with the fact, again, that before I turn my work, I do my chain up. Now, when Mikey at Crochet Crowd does it, he turns his work and then he crochets. And so I think it makes this stitch look a little different. But again, this doesn't count as a stitch for this. So I don't think it really matters. Yeah, so the way that these work, guys, um, what tip do you have for keeping your edges straight? Um, Let me talk about that in just one second. So, how I did this. If you're first hopping on, we have a lot of new people that have joined over here on TikTok. Welcome, everyone. I see all the new followers. Thank you for finding me. My name is April, and oh, it's asking me for a puzzle. One second here, folks. Hopefully this works this morning. It's been a little wonky. Okay, it works. So how I started this, guys, I took my tape measure. This is a flexible tape for sewing. I wrapped this around my head. And behind my ears, over my ears to my forehead, and I measured how big my head was. Okay, then what I did is I did a starting chain. So I just chained until I got to however big my measurement was. So for example, if you're making this for your daughter, her head might be smaller than your head. So you would get your tape measure how you want it placed, and then that would tell you how wide you need to make it, how wide you need to make this starting chain. Wow, the sun is up and shining in. I hope it doesn't mess up with my live this morning. Sorry, we're getting some sunshine in the feed now. Um, So anyhow, that's how I started. Now all I'm doing is half double crochets. Okay, so I finished this last half double crochet here, and then I chain one and turn my work. So now somebody asked the question, I'm sorry, I don't remember who. um, how do I keep my edges straight? So when you're a new crocheter, what you works really really well, I'm going to put a half double crochet in the top of this stitch here. This chain that I did does not count as a stitch. However, this one I just did is my first stitch. So what you do is you take a stitch marker and you put that into your very first stitch. Now, when you get back around, you're going to know where you started and stopped. So with beginner crocheters, what happens is you end up getting an extra stitch here on the end because it's hard to identify where you stop and start. So that is my recommendation. There are times, guys, and you've seen me do this, I get myself, even after all these years, I get confused on my edges depending on the complexity of the blanket that I'm working on. I will use stitch markers on the very edge stitch as well. Yesterday I was working on, was it the lime twist I did yesterday? I had stitch markers all over that blanket. I was counting and making sure that everything is lined up. I don't think I can reach it, but you pop them in. Here's an example, right? So as I'm working along on a blanket, I'm counting to make sure that I have the proper number of stitches so that this edge is staying very, very square. Don't be afraid to do that. It takes time, but in the long run, if you have to go back and you have to frog out something that you have been working on, see the stitch markers? It's easier to count as you go than to go back and frog, 3 or 4 rows. A lot of us have had to do that, and trust me, you'll see me frog stuff on here because I get it screwed up too. I'm not an expert crocheter. I definitely make my share of mistakes, and we have a special icon just for all the times that April has to frog. So yeah, you gotta laugh about it because that's kind of how crochet is, right? If crochet is supposed to be relaxing, for me it is almost therapeutic, right? I've said this before, and a lot of you guys have heard this, but there is something about when I sit down and I pick up my hook and I get excited about the yarn, right? This seashell yarn that I'm doing today, I am absolutely loving the colors. It is so much fun. I'm very excited about the yarn. I'm excited about the stitches, right? That I have these little lines of texture. I get geeked out about this stuff. But when I sit here and crochet, I'm not thinking about work. I'm not thinking about paying the bills. I'm not thinking about the dishes that need to be done or the house that needs to be cleaned or maybe some family drama or, whatever it is. This is my escape from all of that. And so, if you have to frog, like, try not to let it stress you out. Know that it is part of the journey and it happens to all of us. I don't care how good you are. You guys hear me talk about Mikey at the crochet crowd. I know that man frogs. He doesn't show us frogging. He doesn't show us necessarily himself ripping it out. Crystal at Bag a Day, as good as she is, I guarantee you that girl frogs. Just like you, just like me, just like all of us that are sitting here watching me crochet this morning, because it's part of the process. And I'm experimenting with new yarns today. This morning, I started working on it last night. I was talking to Mama C, who's on here. Mama C is my best friend for those that don't know, and I'm playing around with some new yarns, and I'm trying to find what stitch I like for some different yarns. I was doing this yesterday, and Mama C, by the way, I hate this stitch with this yarn. So I'm saying this because I'm going to, I'm experimenting and playing around with this. But this is the spike sedge stitch. I hate it, hate it, hate it with this yarn. This whole thing is going to get frogged to this point, okay? And so then I thought, oh, well, let me try it with the blue. The blue is really pretty. Again, don't like it. I just really detest it. This entire thing is going to get frogged out later today. Okay. So then I thought, oh, well, let's try it with the pink and see if I like it with the pink. Okay, the pink's better. I'm digging the pink. I can work with the pink, but here's the thing. It took me 3 different yarns because I want to make this stitch. I haven't made this stitch before. I kind of like it with the pink. It has fun texture. It looks good from both sides. This will be a baby blanket. It's kind of squishy. I kind of like it with the pink, but it took me 3 times to figure out what I was going to do. And so, again, part of the process, part of the journey. And so, I come on here and I show you guys all my screw ups. I show you all my mistakes because for those that are new to crochet, I don't want you to feel like what you're doing is wrong or you can't get it right or you're not good at this. I show you everything because I want you to know that it happens. It's just part of it. And don't get down on yourself and try again. What if last night I had worked on my second yarn with the blue and never said, I'm going to try this with the white and see how it, or the pink and see how it looks? Then I wouldn't have this beautiful pink stitch, right? I'm not saying that I'm completely in love with it yet, but it's I think the blue might look better if I did it not the if I just did a sedge stitch. Anyhow, it's experimenting. It's working with your colors. It's the different textures of yarn. If I was to do that stitch with this, it might look really cool. Again, I don't know. It's a testing thing. Could I use that spike stitch and make a headband? Yeah, probably. It'd probably look pretty cool. So again, you have to experiment. Okay, so here's my last stitch. If I had put in a stitch marker, it would have been here to identify it, okay? I didn't put one in because I can identify these, but here I'm going to put in my last half double crochet of this row. So again, here's my edge. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to chain one and I'm turning my work. Now, once again, we are on the back of our ear warmer. See how it doesn't have the texture? This side has all of the fun texture. So we're going to make more texture on the front. Normally when you work a half double crochet, this or any crochet stitch, you have 2 bars. The one that is facing away from you is called the back loop. The one that is facing you is called the front loop. And normally when you work a single crochet, double crochet, half double, you go under both of these loops. So if I was to do a double crochet, I would go under those 2 loops, grab up a loop, and then do my double crochet. When you do a half double crochet, it is this marvelous little stitch that has what is called the third loop. So you have the one that's away from you, which is the back loop. The one that is facing you is the front loop. And when you look on the side, there is this side loop here, and it is referred to as the third loop. And a lot of times, if you're working on patterns that use the half double, it will ask you to go into this loop. And that's what we're going to be doing today on this side now. So instead of going under the top 2 loops, I'm going to yarn over. I'm going to put my hook under the third loop and under the front loop. The front loop is the one that is facing you. I'm leaving behind, this is the back loop here. I'm not going under that stitch, okay? Then I'm going to yarn over and pull up a loop, and then I'm going to yarn over and pull through all 3. So again, it's just a half double stitch that I'm doing, half double crochet. It's all about the placement. So again, back loop, front loop, third loop. So here we go. Yarn over, under the third loop, under the front loop, the one that's facing me. So now I have 2. Yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3. Move to the next stitch. So here it is, back loop, front loop. Here's the third loop. So yarn over, go under the third loop, go under the front loop, the one that faces you, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3. And I'll show you here in just a minute what that is doing on the other side, but let's get a few more so we can see how cool the texture is. Again, yarn over, under the third loop, under the front loop. So I have 2, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3. Yarn over under the 3rd loop and the front loop, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3. Okay, so let's pause and turn. So you can kind of see here, it'll be more pronounced as we go along. But this line right here, can you see this line of texture? This is the back loop that we did not go under. We left this sticking out. We didn't work in that loop. And so it left behind this line of texture. So again, here is another one of the back loops, and here's another one of the back loops. So it's automatically putting these lines of texture onto our ear warmer without having to do a lot of work. Okay. So let's carry on. The yarn that I'm using today, guys, real quick for those that are hopping on, this is called Bernat Symphony. It's 80% acrylic and 20% wool. I put the links on the link tree. I got this at Mary Maxim on clearance. However, they've pretty much sold out. I did put a link on the link tree for Hirschner's. They still have both these colors in stock. This pink that I'm doing is called Seashell. It's like a pink and a green. And the blue that I'm doing is the exact same, the Bernat. And it is the Colorway Sea Spray. So it's kind of like blues and kind of like aqua. It looks like ocean, but it's called Sea Spray. And in case you're curious, this is a 5-weight bulky yarn. Like I said, it's 80% acrylic and 20% wool. Now with that wool, it doesn't make it very scratchy. My sister-in-law is hypersensitive to irritating textures and that kind of stuff. And she wore hers all day, was completely happy with it. Had she not liked it, she wasn't putting it on. She's a straight shooter. She will tell me if she doesn't like something. And I'm using a size K hook today, which is a 6.5 millimeter. Okay. So, like I said, I did put links on the link tree. Now, Joanne had some of this, but they're all sold out of the colors. So I think Hirschner's is kind of the place to get it right now. But if you want to check them out, and I think it was on sale still. So feel free to check that out. Now, if you guys, um, if you want to go back and make this ear warmer, for those that don't know, I've seen lots of new followers this morning over on TikTok. Thank you all so much for the follows. For those that don't know me, my name is April, and I'm not a professional crocheter. I'm just a hobby crocheter, but I come on here with my friends and I crochet and chat about crochet, and we have a marvelous group here. So you've come to the right place. And so anyhow, welcome, welcome. But like I said, I come in on at 7 Central Time, and then I stay on till about 8:30, at which time I go off and do my real job. So I just kind of do this as a hobby, but I like to show, some of the stitches that I'm doing and help some newbies and maybe inspire some people to, take up crocheting, or maybe you've not crocheted in a long time and you get inspired to maybe pick up your hook and give it a try again. Mama Wheeler, for those that don't know, Mama Wheeler is on here. And she is my mom, obviously. And she hasn't crocheted for a very long time. She's had some problems with her thumb. And anyhow, she told me, she said, I probably will never crochet again. And she comes on here and watches me, and hopefully you got that, Haley. Did you get that yarn? And so anyhow, Mama Wheeler was over at Michael's this week, buying yarn. She's going to try to make a blanket, and she sent me a picture yesterday of her hard work, which was a pile of yarn that she had frogged out. So even, Mama Wheeler crocheted for years and years and years, but she had some challenges yesterday. But I know she'll get it. I know she'll get it. What stitch was the test yarn? The pink. Are you talking about this? Frostbit? This stitch is the spiked sedge stitch. Can you see it? I'll eventually be on live doing this, but it's called the spiked sedge stitch. if you can see it. The hot pink is kind of hard to see. And this yarn is the ice cream yarn. You know, I love my ice cream yarns. Ice cream, if you want the hot pink. It's called Birthday Cake. Oh my gosh, I love that. Isn't that cute? Birthday Cake. Oh, okay, you guys are getting me distracted. Yes, thank you, Anvil, for pinning that. Spiked sedge stitch. I've never made it before. He put out a video this week, which was the spaced spike sedge stitch. And I was talking to Mama C yesterday at work, and I'm like, there's no way I could come on live and teach the spaced spiked sedge stitch. Can you imagine? Like, say that 5 times fast. It's very similar to the spiked sedge stitch, which I think I could come on live and say that over and over again, but add that word spaced in there, and I'm like, oh, I don't know. But anyhow, if you want to sneak ahead and make that, it's called the the pink is the spiked sedge stitch. So I think the blue would look better maybe if it was just the sedge stitch without the spike on it, but I'm not sure. The part I don't like about the blue, I liked it when it was, sorry, I liked it when it was here and it was like the aqua colors. The part I don't like is the hue of this blue, the hue of the blue, which is harder to see on the live. It's kind of making it wonky. This is like almost like what is it called? Like a cornflower blue. And I don't know why it's not focusing. And so this is like a aqua blue is what I would call it. And to me, these two hues don't go together. So I have to find a stitch where these can be spread further apart and not next to each other where they're clashing, because I don't that's what I don't like about it. So anyhow, yeah. Sorry guys, I've gotten completely off track this morning. Lots of questions. Thank you guys, everybody, for being here. 19.9 hearts over on TikTok and 3 thumbs up over on YT. Thank you guys all for sending those hearts flying. I really appreciate that. And thank you for all of the thumbs up over on YT. I really appreciate all of the support and all the gifts this morning. Thank you so much. I hope everybody is having a great week. So I'm getting ready to finish this last of this little bit. So let's talk about these stitches one more time as we finish out this row. Okay. So again, I'm working a half double crochet. Now, normally when you work a half double crochet, you would work in the top of the stitch, which is under these 2 loops, your back loop and your front loop. The way that we're working this stitch right now is we're working in the 3rd loop, the side loop of the half double crochet. So I'm going to go yarn over, go under the 3rd loop, go under the front loop. The front loop is the one that faces you. Pull up a loop and then yarn over and pull through all 3. And what that is doing is, because we're not working in the back loop, it's leaving the back loop behind and it's leaving all this marvelous texture. And so that's why we're not working in that back loop. And it's still very secure and sturdy because we're still going under 2 loops. So again, yarn over. If I turn the work so you guys can kind of see it a little better, that's the back loop. Here's the front loop. Here's the 3rd loop. So I'm going to put my hook under the 3rd loop and under the front loop, grab up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3. Yarn over, again, under the 3rd loop, under the front loop, pull up that loop, and yarn over and pull through all 3. Normally when I work my stitches, I kind of put my hook more like this angle where it's kind of straight. When I do this stitch, I kind of am putting it more upright. See how it's like almost flat against my work? So you'll have to kind of, you know, maybe change the angle of your hook as you're working this stitch to try to get it to slide under there. But I know you can. FYP. Hopefully everybody's finding me on the FYP today. We've had a lot of visitors, a lot of new followers. So I'm assuming, did anybody on here find me on the FYP this morning? FYP. FYP, for those that don't know, is the For You page. That's where TikTok basically takes the algorithm, right? And then they say, hey, we think you're going to like this person. Okay, so again, Linnell said I did. Lauren says she did. All right. Turtle found me. Amanda said, sent a follow. Awesome, awesome. Welcome, new followers. For those that don't know, my name is April, and I come on live every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday mornings. And I come on at 7 Central Time. I live in Northeast Alabama, and I just crochet with my friends. But we have a fabulous group here, and I promise you're gonna love them. It's a very safe space. I'm kid friendly, and I try to be. I am married to a trucker, but I try to keep my live streams very PG for all of you. So, anyhow, so I put in my last stitch here. Now, the one thing with these ear warmers, okay, this is the finished. You can kind of see here. Um, I'm trying to get it to about 4 inches. Now, this is a little narrow. It could have gone a little bit bigger, but I'm at like 3.5 inches. But I would say you're kind of shooting for around the 4 inch mark. Okay. So as I'm working this, I want to be, keeping in mind how big this is. Okay, so here we go. We're at 3. I need to do one more row of this, and then I'll be ready to sew this together. Now, I know I'm running a little late on time, but I'm going to try to work through this row very quickly because I want to be able to show everybody how to sew this together. Okay, so this is a very easy row. What I'm going to do is chain 1, and then I turn my work. And now all I'm going to do is work in the top loops here with a half double crochet. Okay. And I'm just going to do a half double the whole way down. And what it's doing is it's leaving the third loop behind. So I'm still getting that awesome, awesome texture. Robin, thank you so much for the roses this morning. I appreciate that. And Anvil, I don't know if I said, but I'm probably going to go a little long today because I want to try to sew this. But I'm going to try to get this last row in so we can get to the stitching part. Again, this is the back loop. This is the front loop. I'm going under both bars, and all I'm doing is a half double crochet. Okay, so let's speed crochet. How am I doing on time? What time is it? Boy, Robin, those roses are still going up. Thank you. Thank you so very much. Happy Friday Eve, everybody. I hope everybody has had a marvelous week. While everybody's here, the subscriber giveaway this month of December is the Granny Square source book. And there's a link for it on my link tree if you want to check it out. But that is going to be the subscriber giveaway. So if you are a subscriber, you will be entered on the little spinning wheel thingamabob. And we're going to do that Tuesday morning, which is Christmas Eve. It's also, I believe, the first day of Hanukkah. And we're going to do the subscriber giveaway that morning at 8 o'clock. And on Tuesday, I'm going to be working on a Christmas blanket that morning. I'm going to be working on the Hugs and Kisses, which is a chevron blanket by the Crochet Crowd. And I'm doing it in Karen Simply Soft Christmas color. So it's going to be a full day of Christmas on Tuesday. So Tuesday, 7 Central Time. Now, TikTok has not been sending out some of the notifications. So I do make a live schedule of events, and you can go on there and you can subscribe to the events, and then it will send you a reminder. The Christmas Day, I will not be on. Okay. I will be back on Thursday, the day after Christmas, and I don't have to work that day. So I'm going to be doing 8 a.m. on Thursday, 8 Central Time. And we're going to be working on Valentine's. Where are my little squares at? I'll show you all. Here they are. So Thursday after Christmas, we're going to work on Valentine squares. So I'm going to show you guys how to do this. This is my original little square I made. It's an applique that is worked into the square itself. This is not sewn on. It's actually crocheted on. And so anyhow, that'll be Thursday. Now Thursday will be at 8 o'clock. I also, our office is closed Thursday and Friday after Christmas. Friday, I'm going to come on and I'm going to do a special live. It's either going to be 1 or 2 o'clock Friday afternoon. I don't normally come on during the evenings or after work or anything. And so it is kind of a one off. I have not decided what pattern I'm going to do on that Friday, but stay tuned. I do make event schedules, and so that will be coming up. Okay. Uh, Annabelle, you may have told me, but can you tell me what time it is? So I'm at 3.5. I'm going to go ahead and end it here, guys, because I want to show you all how to sew this together. And those roses are still going. Wow. Thank you so much. Oh, 8:19. Okay, thank you. Thank you. I was thinking I was almost out of time. So what I'm going to do now, guys, is I'm going to tie off. I like to do 2 chains. This yarn is kind of slippery. And then I'm going to snip off here. Now I'm leaving a long tail. Okay, that's very important as you're snipping off because we're going to use this to sew our project together. So I'm going to cinch these knots down. Now that is very, very secure. Okay, so this is our ear warmer. Uh, Macy said you've got 50 million work in progresses. Yeah, it's about that many, Macy. Maybe not 50 million, maybe like 50. Uh, Baggy Boo said, I missed the beginning. That is okay. What you need to do is go over to YT and look for Wheeler 8 Acres. Amanda said, Yay, I found you. Yay, Amanda, I'm glad you found me. Amanda found me on YT. Look for Wheeler 8 Acres over on YT. Now, not today. It takes 24 hours to process, but um, in the next day or so, this whole live will be over on YT. You can rewatch it. Okay, so I have, this is the right side of my work. Okay, I want this texture. See how this is? I want this texture to show as I'm going to do my ear warmer. Okay, so I want this to be on the outside. So I put this to the inside and I fold my ear warmer in almost like half. Okay, now this is kind of hard to fit on the camera. I'm going to do the very best for both platforms here. Okay, and I kind of shift it off to the right. So you can see this one overhangs more than this one. I take my little tail, I put that forward. Now what I'm going to do, this side that's hanging over, I fold this backwards around and I make a little yarn sandwich. Then this side that's hanging off, I fold this the other way and I make the other part of the yarn sandwich. So now I have it folded in half. And you can see basically these two pieces, if I pull them apart, do a little screenshot, they go into each other like this, okay? But again, put the right side facing forward, bring your other side up and line it up in the middle. Now fold this one back around and now make the other part of your yarn sandwich, fold this one to the front. Okay, so that is how you're going to sew this together. Okay, and it kind of looks wonky right now because it's all twisted up. Okay, now I'm going to hold this with my hand and I'm going to get my darning needle. We call it the Pac-Man kiss. Yes, the Pac-Man kiss. I like the yarn sandwich. You guys don't like yarn sandwich? You don't like me making stuff up as I go along? I'm going to make an icon that says yarn sandwich. I think it's very catchy. Hannah says, I like yarn sandwich. Okay. So now I have my darning needle onto my hook or onto my yarn. And I'm going to start here. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to whip stitch these back and forth. Okay. If you guys have a way that you like to do this, I hate sewing. So I'm not telling you any of the rules here. You can do however this works for you. Okay. But this is how I kind of figured out to do it. So I just am, and make sure as you're doing this that you're catching all of 4 sides. So here's one the blue. Here's the pink. Now I need the middle part here and then the other part here. So make sure you're going under all four. If you don't go under all four, you're going to have kind of a mess. They won't all kind of, and I pull this up kind of snug, okay? And all I'm going to do is whip stitch this all the way down. Again, if you have a better way to do this that you prefer, I say go for it, because like I said, it's probably my least favorite thing. My husband the other day, he came in and he says, babe, do you know how to do a button? And I kind of chuckled and I said, of course I know how to do a button, honey. This is your wife that knows all this kind of stuff. And I said, do you have a button you need me to sew on? And he said, yeah, my favorite hoodie, I lost the button. It's a he likes the little plaid ones that are lined. They're like Sherpa lined. Oh, sorry, YouTubers, I've been off screen. Uh, anyhow, anyhow, he lost the button. Now I'm going to go just work it back kind of the other direction. Okay. So I just am kind of, doing a bunch of these and making this super secure, guys. Okay. However you need to do this. So anyhow, he brought me his favorite little plaid Sherpa. He uses them out in the shop and stuff. And I sewed his button on for him. But my husband's, he's a New Year's baby. And, he always has his birthday so close to Christmas. But a couple of years ago, I had got him these plaid Sherpa. They're like shirts, but they have a hoodie. They're really cool. And he has a black one and he has a blue one. Well, he was doing some mechanicking with it's like grayish, and it got all dirty. His blue one he has kind of nice. He managed to keep it nice and not ruin it. But for his birthday, I ordered him a couple more. I got him a solid black one, and I got him a new plaid black one. I've got them on order so that they'll be here for his birthday. So I'm kind of excited about that. I know he'll really like it. Okay, once I kind of work this all the way across, then what I do is I just kind of weave in this tail. Okay, so I just kind of put my hook back in, or my needle, a couple of times, and I pull this through. Now, sometimes this gets a little snug and hard to pull through. And what I like to do, I have all of you people that have worked in offices, you remember these little rubber fingers? Or they have them like this? I get these off Amazon. Sorry, YouTubers. So what I'll do, sometimes you'll see me pick this up if you're wondering. This is like a little grippy thing that I can use, and it helps me to hold on to my needle. So I will use that sometimes, but you keep this really nice and tight. So I've gone one direction. Now I'm going to go back kind of the other direction. I'm just going to kind of weave in this tail a few times, but if you do it right, it is very tight and hard to pull through. And so this little finger gripper really helps me kind of get this yarn to go how I need it to go. And, maybe you have stronger hands, you can pull it through better than I can. Okay, so once I've done it a couple times, now I just snip this off. Okay, I know you all are dying to see this. Sparky said, I've also cut up old rubber cleaning gloves. Yeah, they're like rubber thimbles. Anyhow, I just try to explain what I'm doing, because I know some people, if I don't explain it, someone will ask. So I try to just share what I'm doing as I'm doing it so that you guys can kind of, it makes sense what I'm doing. Okay, so now I have the other string from the other side of my ear warmer. And again, I'm just going to get this on a needle. And I'm just going to weave this one in the exact same way. I'm going to do a few whip stitches with it. Now this is already pretty secure, but we're just going to do it just to be safe, right? Just weave this end yarn through a few times and get it kind of secured. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'll weave in this tail again. Okay, so I'm just going to weave this in. We're almost there, folks. Almost. Okay, one more time. Usually 3 times for good measure. Weave in your ends. This is pretty tight and this yarn is pretty fluffy. I don't think it's going anywhere. So I'm going to just do 2 times. But as a good rule of thumb, when you're weaving in your ends of a blanket or any project, try to go back and forth 3 times. Okay. Okay, let me put away my needle before I lose it. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this right side out. And you just kind of have to flip this up and we're done. There's our little head warmer. Now here's what it looks like on the back. Fabulous texture. Very easy project. Now guys, I've been on for an hour and a half and I've paused a lot and I've answered a lot of questions and I've gone really slow. So if you're a very new beginner, I think you could do this project in an hour and a half. If you're experienced, I know we have a lot of experienced crocheters on here. I think you could do it a heck of a lot faster. But it is really, really cute. And like I said, it's stretchy, right? And so, again, for those that are just coming on, how I figured out the size. This is key. Okay, get your sewing tape measure, your flexible tape measure, and put this around your head where your ear warmer would go, and you measure how big your head is. Okay. Then you make your starting chain, however big that size is. And most people's heads are usually around like 20, 22-ish kind of range. Okay. So that's how you know where to start. Okay. And anyhow, I think we're pretty close on time, but it has been a fabulous week, guys. I just wanted to take a moment and thank everybody for their support. Subscriber giveaway will be on Tuesday. If you are, and this is for TikTok only. TikTok on YT, I don't have enough to have subscribers, but on TikTok, if you are a subscriber, we will be giving away the Granny Square source book, and I have a link to that over on the link tree if you wanted to look at it. Now, if you already have that book, you can pick something else and I will, sub it. That's totally fine. But we're going to do that live on Tuesday, Christmas Eve, first day of Hanukkah at 8 a.m. I'm going to be working on a Christmas chevron blanket on Tuesday. I'm not going to be on Christmas Day. And then I will be back on Thursday, and we're going to be working on Valentine squares. Okay, so I'm ready to start thinking about Valentine's and maybe making some Valentine's blankets for donation. So, anyhow, that will be Thursday at 8 a.m. But like I said, there is a schedule. So feel free to do that. Welcome, welcome to all of the new followers. I appreciate that you guys found me and that you gave me a follow. It is a marvelous group here, and you're going to love it. So, also, if you're not going to be on next week, I know a lot of people have holiday plans. I wish you all a very Merry Christmas. For those of you that don't celebrate Christmas, if you have other holidays you're celebrating, Hanukkah, whatever, again, happy holidays. And I hope you all have a fabulous weekend coming up. And if I don't get to see you next week, I hope you have a marvelous holiday and Merry Christmas. So with that, I'm going to sign off. But I hope you all have a fabulous weekend, and I will hope to see you all next week. Bye for now.